Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the LJ Ranky Travel Channel. Hey, I'm standing in a neighborhood called Alfama, Lisbon, Portugal. This is a very old section of the city. I'm going to kind of do a quick pan here. We are actually on one of the tram lines. You'll see those tracks right behind me. You'll see how winding and how narrow are the streets here. And let me tell you what, this is one of the wider streets in this neighborhood. This is an older part of Portugal. Of course, Portugal is an old city. The main part, the downtown, is flat, but you get out of downtown just a block or two out of it, and it is hilly. When my wife and I got off the ship on Thursday morning, actually only 2 mornings ago, we started walking towards here. I reserved this hotel because it looked like a neighborhood hotel. Yeah, I'm going to just kind of keep panning the buildings. And I thought, oh, that'll be true Portugal, and it's been a wonderful experience, just a wonderful experience. And I thought, okay, it's relatively close to the ship, so it should be easy to walk, some winding streets and whatever. Let me tell you what, people, I had no idea. First of all, Google Maps does not show you every single alleyway and every single sidewalk. Some of these streets are what you would call them alleys or something, are wide enough I could touch one wall to the other. You're walking upstairs and everything else, and nothing is straight. You think, okay, I should be able to angle over here, and then all of a sudden it curves. You don't know where you're going. And the other thing, so we're pulling our bags, our suitcases up the hill. And here you'll see a car coming down one of these streets here, following the tram line. And I think a tram will probably come by here shortly, so they're real popular with the tourists. Good morning. Good morning. Thank you. And I'm sorry. So we're bringing our luggage up here, and I'm getting lost. I'm pretty good with directions, but everything winds. I don't know where I'm going. And I stopped for asking for directions. Guess what? The first guy I asked directions to is from Bozeman, Montana. He's here waiting for his wife. There's been a passport issue, so he got his congressman involved. So if you read about the news about a guy waiting for his wife to get her to Lisbon from Montana, I met that guy. Okay, nice guy. All right. What's really kind of cool about these kind of neighborhoods, and it's all true all over everything we've seen in Lisbon, is if you look back behind me now, that's kind of going downhill. You see a little stack of red there. Those are actually red tables from a little small restaurant. There are 3 little tiny restaurants right there, and we ended up going to one of them because it was a pizza parlor, and that's where I'm going to have pizza and beer. And really nice visits with those people, okay? This lady is trying to turn the corner here. What's the problem? I'm not quite sure what her problem is, okay? The other thing that's interesting, you'll notice the streets are all cobblestone. Well, guess what? The sidewalks are cobblestone. There are no concrete sidewalks that I have found here in Lisbon. You see those? We're taking our bags, pulling our luggage up cobblestone sidewalks. It tends to be kind of bumpy, okay? But it's still an exciting adventure. I really enjoy it. And the sidewalks will sometimes narrow. Let me walk over here. This is where our hotel is. I don't know if you can see that sidewalk right over there. It gets to be about a foot wide. Further, the next little curve is even smaller than that. I am not complaining. I'm not criticizing. I think it's just fantastic. But it's really a sense of neighborhood that you have right here, full of rich smells, and little tiny restaurants in the walls, little tiny markets, and it's just fun to see that. But we had an interesting time getting to this hotel. We finally got here, and it's been very, very nice. Okay. And it's kind of neat too. If you look at the balconies that you can see the balconies behind me. Very often they are lined with clotheslines, and people will hang out their wash. So you get to watch them hanging out their laundry. We've seen some people doing that. Let me think here. Oh, when we got here, you'll see some streamers on that storefront over there, above that storefront. Some of the small alleys and streets are all draped with these colored streamers. And I finally asked somebody, what's going on here? What's the celebration? Well, guess what, people? This part of town is just a few blocks, it's not very far away, but I can't give you, it's hard to get there because you have to wind to get there. But this is where St. Anthony was born. So there's a church on the remains of his parents' house. And we did not go into the church, but we stopped and took a picture there. But so they have a St. Anthony celebration, and it lasts evidently for a month. The Irish have St. Patrick, Mexicans have Cinco de Mayo, both of which are pretty big beer drinking days. Well, guess what? St. Anthony gets a whole month. So it's a pretty big party for a month in Lisbon, Portugal, especially on weekends. Last night was a Friday night, and you could tell the neighborhood was pretty excited with people walking around. Looking at some other notes here. One of the big things in Lisbon, I don't know if it's all of Portugal, but Lisbon, is something called codfish cakes. Norwegians take a lesson out of the Lisbon playbook, okay? They take their dried codfish, and you can see it for sale in stores. They take dried codfish and they mix it with potatoes and onions and garlic, and there's a few other spices that go into it, and eggs too, I think. And they fry it, and it comes out kind of like a potato. It looks a little like a small potato, and it's really good. And we went to the place, one of the very famous ones downtown, and they inject it with a particular kind of Portuguese cheese. Very, very good. And Norwegians, no offense, but lutefisk, maybe mix it with potatoes and onions and garlic and fry it, I think, into little balls and fry it as little balls. I think you'll find yourself winning a lot more, a new generation of cod eaters. Okay, I can tell now there is a tram coming down the street. These are sometimes extremely loaded with tourists, but they actually are one of the a real transportation for people here in the area. Okay, so it's kind of cool to see. Let's see here. One of the things that's really big here in Lisbon is outdoor eating. Okay, here comes our tram. I'm gonna let you just kind of see that. Isn't that cool? There's certain stops, and what's nice is you can buy a ticket, and as you're riding the trams, everybody's always photographing the trams. You can tell all the tourists, we're all taking pictures of the trams. But you can see how it kind of has to sneak through the building there. It is pretty tight. Going past our hotel, it was right below our window in our hotel. And it was just kind of cool to hear that sound go by till late at night. Anyway, you buy, it was like €6.50, maybe about $8. It gives you access to the trams. It gives you access to the subway system. We actually took the subway out to the airport the first day we got here, thinking we were going to transport our baggage by ourselves, you know, location to location, but they don't have nearly as many escalators. So we're carrying these big bags around. We decided, no, that's not going to work. So we go ahead and we've ordered a car to take us. It'll cost €30. Certainly worth it to get us to the airport this morning. Okay, what else can I tell you about? Some other things you notice about Lisbon are, oh, by the way, the outdoor eating. I mentioned the outdoor eating in the small little restaurants, but if you get downtown, they've got big streets are just designated for pedestrian traffic, and they're all this cobblestone sidewalk. It's usually a white marble, but they've got designs in it down there. It's really pretty, beautiful pedestrian area that they've got down there. And all along the way there are shops and restaurants, and all the restaurants put out in the middle of the street umbrellaed table settings. So eating outdoors is a big deal. Yesterday we went to a western part from downtown to a place called Belém, which has a lot of museums. We saw a coaches museum, but on the way back we stopped to what's called the Time Out Market, where they've transferred an old meat vegetable market, at least portions of it, into the largest food court I have ever seen in my life. And it was packed. And big tables, so everybody's sitting around with strangers at these big tables eating at this big market. Now that's indoors, but the idea of shared eating outdoors is big, whether it's one of these small little neighborhood things or down the streets of downtown. It's really kind of cool to see. Another thing I noticed differences from where I live in North Dakota is you don't see a pickup here to save your life. All the cars are small, and you park them wherever you can park them. I'll tell you what. And these streets, sometimes cars have to back up to let the cable car through, and sometimes they're going the wrong